Welcome to neoscience hub. Today we are going to interact with Dr. Murali Sharma, who was ex-scientist of ICRISAT, and today he will be explaining us rainwater harvesting.
Namaskar. I was born and brought up in Rajasthan. One third of western Rajasthan is desert. My birth is in Jodhpur, which is on desert margin. That's where I grew up, and straight from university I came to Hyderabad 45 years back. I have worked in ICRISAT for 44 over 44 years. My education has been in ecology and botany, but all my professional work has been in agriculture, and this is how I take it. Two most important things for our sustenance is food and water. Food is the professional part, research that we were doing, agricultural production systems in dryland agriculture. ICRISAT is a research institute for dryland agriculture, and along with that work, water conservation was a very important integral part of it. So, over the time water conservation became my passion. This is how I take it, and maybe other than this I do not know anything.
So, sir, how did you get the idea of starting rainwater harvesting?
It was a gradual process. One, our professor had taught us in ecology that water conservation and rainwater conservation are all important things. But then I did not feel much pinch of water living in my city, because that is a small city where water was regularly supplied by whatever was the government's piped water system. But when I came to Hyderabad, this is what I learned. My house owners incidentally were very good people, but if they suffered for water, fine, I also suffered, that is simple. So, at that time when I came mid 70s, Hyderabad's population had almost 40% people only had tap connections, 60% were dependent on borewell water or dug wells in their houses. This is how we were maintaining our systems. Population kept on increasing. So, what happened over the time? We have been drawing much more water, and that is where the problem started, that over the time dug wells in Hyderabad dried up, almost all have dried up by now, and borewell depth is continuously decreasing. I am not saying government did not do efforts, government did tremendous efforts, but this is what happens, requirement increases much more. Now, Hyderabad's king, the Nizam, started tap water supply in 1910. The population of the city at that time was 5 lakh, half a million. The installed capacity by the king was for supply water for 1 million, 10 lakh people. Next 120 years, 110 years, our population has increased how many times? More than 25 times. Now, natural resource base does not increase with that pace. So, despite all the efforts you do, that pinch is always there. Despite that is one thing. Another thing, industries and irrigation for agriculture, which gives us food, that takes a substantial quantity of water. So, Hyderabad always had a water problem gradually increasing, and that is where the idea came. My parents were coming to see me in Hyderabad, and they gave an idea, when you built your house, construct a system like what was done in Rajasthan before, and that system before was conserve rainwater from the roof of your house. and store in an open courtyard, which we called in Hindi chalk. Chalk had a underground tank covered with some opening, and that was the purest form of water, which was used for drinking, cooking, in a small way for bath also. And that system was sustainable, no question about it. So, that is how the idea came. I must be honest in telling that I did not discover or invent a new system for water conservation. No, this is age old technology. It is just that we have fitted that technology, a traditional age old concept, in our modern dwellings, where we do not have a open courtyard, we do not have a chalk. So, that is it, that is what we did. We built this house in 1995.
So, sir, from past 28 years you are using rainwater harvesting.
Yes.
So, could you just explain like what are the benefits of it?
Again I go back to my roots, and roots are that I had very clear idea that I want to build a simple eco-friendly house. So, by any criteria, as you see or take pictures here, this is not a sophisticated house, simple house built on load bearing walls, not columns. These are mud bricks. Mud bricks are not even plastered on both the sides. One side we have plastered to make it uniform. Roof, of course, is conventional RCC roof, but outside mud bricks are painted with light color. So, it does not absorb a lot of heat. House must remain cool. So, it was just not water conservation. Idea was to make a simple eco-friendly house, and this roof is 166 square meter. Rainfall in Hyderabad is about 850 millimeters in a year. Now, this is a consistent observation, I tell you. While we always complain, keep on complaining, but there is an increasing trend of rainfall in this region. When I came to Hyderabad, we were considering Hyderabad's normal rainfall is 660 millimeter. Over the time, I am very convinced Hyderabad's rainfall is 850 millimeters a year, and this, why I say this is a lot of water. The place where I was born, that is only 350 millimeter rain. So, here we get much more, and there is a very basic equation I must say. 1 millimeter rain on 1 square meter roof gives you 1 liter water. This is a simple universal equation. So, if I know that I have a 1 square meter surface, and if I know how many millimeter water fell down on this by rain, I can simply calculate how much total water I get. My roof is 166 millimeter and rainfall here is say 850 millimeter in a year, which practically means I get about 1,36,000 liter water in a year on my roof. This is lot of water, We do not realize it because water falls there, it comes down by a plastic PVC pipe and it goes out somewhere, we do not know. No, this is a lot of water if you conserve. So, having learnt that, okay, then what I need is a very simple thing, and that simple thing is how big underground tank I need. If all rain of the year will fall continuously in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days, then yes, I need an underground tank of 1,35,000 liter. But water gradually comes and we are everyday drawing, which means there must be some balance, some optimum size. Over the time, while initially I made a rather complicated program also, but over the time, thumb rule, there is a thumb rule now, that whatever total water you get, 50 to 60% of that water is the optimum size of the tank, simple. Because this depends on the structural design of the house. So, what is on the tank, it depends on that, many technical considerations. And looking to that, our engineer Rajendra Kumar, a very brilliant engineer, I must say, he also lives in Yapral. He built a similar house. So, we built 1,25,000 liter underground tank, although I did not need so big, but we thought that is fine, because that was fit in our structural design. 15 years later, and that is the time, I must say. So, our source of water supply at that time was borewell, and my borewell is 170 feet deep. Nowadays, just opposite apartment has 1200 feet deep. You go to Neridmet, you get 1800 and 1900 feet deep. So, we think I have money and more powerful pumps, so I get share of a lion's share of a big natural resource and free. No, nothing is free. You spend money on digging that bore well, you cause much more ecological harm, and also you end up paying much more electricity to pump that water, but fine, I am not arguing on those things. The real question is, how long we will keep on digging. Fortunately, there are some laws now. My borewell is just 170 feet deep. So, initially 50% of water of our water consumption was coming from borewell, and 50% from our stored rainwater through rain. Rainwater that we were using was drinking, cooking, bath and washing clothes. These 4 important functions we do with rainwater. Then washing vessels, flushing toilets, once in a while washing floors and watering plants. These 4 functions were from the borewell. So, this is how we were meeting our requirement. Then our neighbor built the house. Our neighbors are big builders in Miapur area. He did not know that we have such system until he built up a substantial part of his house. Otherwise, he also wanted to make, but fine. Over the time, as they built their house, they offered me water from their roof. Their roof is also about 160 square meter, maybe actually little more than ours. So, we get water from neighbor's roof also on western side, which practically means our house is now getting more than 2,50,000, or I will say more than 2,70,000 liter water in a year from 2 roofs. And yes, it is much more than the underground reservoirs capacity, but that is fine. When it gets filled up, water automatically goes out by a overflow pipe to a soak pit. It does not flow on the street. So, still it is used. So, water conservation increased. Over the time, we got tap water. So, now we also have tap water connection. So, when we got tap water, I removed all the pipes from the borewell pump. Now, borewell motor still stays there because that is fixed, but I have removed pipes. We are not using borewell water at all. So, water from my roof and neighbor's roof plus and municipal water, and we do not mix them. With these two sources, we meet our requirement, and again the system is still the same. Rainwater is for drinking, cooking, bath and washing clothes. Now, drinking story is rainwater is very highly pure, say distilled water, unless of course, there are chemical industries and such things, and people say acid water and such things. Where is acid rains here? There are no industries, and we are in better green area of Hyderabad. So, yes, while there is air pollution, but we do not have serious problem with that water, and this water initially has also been analyzed. It is very high quality water, but you cannot drink it straightway, because this is distilled water. No one can survive by drinking distilled water. It needs minerals. So, what we do? Very simple thing. We do not unnecessarily keep on cleaning roof of the house by whatever wind blows, whatever dust comes on the roof. Actually, that dust adds minerals in our water, and therefore, what we are drinking is mineral rainwater. We are not drinking distilled water. So, that is fine, and
So,
it is
sir,
so many years we are healthy, no issue about it.
So, sir, have you tested this water in the lab?
This was analyzed in ICRISAT before when we built it, and as expected, I knew that this is very high quality water. So, we use it. See, we are not the first ones in Rajasthan, in Africa, in fact, in many areas including this state, southern states in our country, northern states in our country, we have been drinking that rainwater. So, there is no issue about it. In fact, a system like this, we should very vigorously push in all those areas which have fluoride problem, and people will get simple water, very clean water, healthy water. Otherwise, putting all those plants and these things have technical problems. Sometimes you do not have chemicals, sometimes no electricity, sometimes the operator who runs that machine, if his family is living elsewhere, then that person goes away. So, there are practical problems. Why not make a permanent solution? Let everyone conserve water. That's possible.
So, sir, you are the first person in Sainikpuri who has started rainwater harvesting from past 28 years. So, compared to last year rainfall was high.
Yes.
So, how much water it might be stored in your tank?
No. Nowadays, just not last year, every year the underground tank overflows, because this was designed little more capacity beyond for one house. This is 1,25,000 liters. But when you connect two houses, it is actually undersized, but all right. There is a overflow pipe, water automatically goes through overflow head pipe, and as you entered our house, there is a coconut tree. Actually, that coconut tree is planted on that soak pit. Right on the soak pit, we have put that coconut tree. So what happens? We have never ever maintained that soak pit. The roots of coconut tree take water and the tree grows. Same way, on this western side, we have 2 bedrooms and 2 toilets. From this side also, water goes and in a soak pit, and on that soak pit is that ashok tree, huge tree now. So, tree needs water. So, tree is absorbing water, and fine, it gives shade, it gives a very good microclimatic effect to keep the house cool. So, that is another benefit of having 2 soak pits and trees over it. I do not spend any money or my efforts on maintaining soak pit, trees are taking care of it.
So, sir, have you like recommended GHMC for this rainwater harvesting?
See, it is not the question of recommending. Yes, they are aware of it. Actually, it so happened that when I submitted this plan for approval, I got the call from the town planning officer. Incidentally, I knew him, he had worked in ICRISAT before his marriage. He said, my sahab wants to meet you. So, commissioner of our Kapra municipality wanted to meet me. Before approving the plan, he wants to see you. And yes, I went there. For this person, again, just like my engineer, this was a very crazy thing. And he had his doubts that on a water tank, a house cannot stand, and then house may collapse, then I may and bureaucracy always thinks to safeguard themselves also. So, it is possible that then I will tell the government, you compensate me because you approved my plan, that sort of thing, but it does not happen really this way. He had his doubts, and it took hours for me to convince him, but thanks to him that he had so much patience to listen to me. That was the big thing. And but he kept on his argument that, see, if the system does not work, then the trouble is I will ask for compensation, that kind thing. And I argued in a very unusual, very stupid, but very stubborn, unusual way. I said, sir, you think it this way, that if my house by any chance will collapse, it is possible that I will die in that. And if I die, there is no question of coming to you and asking compensation. Simple. That was much more for him, and he picked up the pen and approved it. But this is what he did. Now, I am coming on what he did for us. He was, as he approved and as he listened to me, I am appreciative of him, I am not complaining, please do not mistake me. He gave the word to GHMC. They had a office near Khairtabad. Just before Corona also, I was invited there to make a presentation. And very next day, he mentioned it to Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu, because Naidu Sahab had this video conferences with government officials. So, he mentioned, yesterday I came across a very crazy plan for approval, and yes, I called the person, and he has convinced me, I have approved it. Chief Minister gave him an instruction, you keep an eye on that house, keep me informed. Now, that became some assignment for the commissioner. So, maybe commissioner or maybe his staff, they were regularly visiting the site when this was being done. The commissioner also told me once that obviously he must have visited. Aapka ghar ke before your house there is no road, no electricity pole. I will make a road, I will put a pole before your house is completed. Yes, he did that. Maybe in anticipation that someday if Chief Minister comes, the whole thing should look reasonably well to the Chief Minister. So, in a way, yes, government was aware of it. At one time, near this cyber towers, that round building, that area, Shilpa Ramam's auditorium, yes, I was asked to make a presentation, and Chief Minister gave me a silver medal in that. So, yes, government is aware of it. Not, I am no one to recommend them, they know this. And before we built, in fact, they have already been trying to popularize the concept of this soak pits. So, what I have done is, in between roof and government popularized soak pit, I have made a storage tank in between. Use that water, and used water should go in the soak pit. That is the addition, in fact, I have done.
So, sir, you don't use bore water, you completely use rainwater harvesting?
Now I will show you, you can take pictures. We don't use borewell water at all. You can take the picture of pump which is lying there, but there are no pipes on that. So, not a drop of borewell. On the contrary, in fact, I put lot of water in borewell once in a year, and I will try to tell you how. We need to clean this tank because we drink this. So, the practice is we should clean it once in a year. What is the cleaning time? Summer season. By 15th May or so, I want the tank should be empty, and every year it happens 20, 30, 40,000 liter water is still there in the tank. So, what we do, we start the pump. There is a pump attached to that tank which every day puts water in the overhead tank, and from overhead tank water comes in the toilets and the kitchen where we use it. So, instead of pushing that in the overhead tank, I put a hose pipe and leave that water in the borehole. It keeps on going in the ground profile, 20 to 40,000 liters water, because I have to empty the tank, then only I can clean it. So, instead of drawing water, we are actually adding water. A few years back, when on all the three, rather front side also, when water houses were under construction, they needed water. So, I was giving them whenever I needed to empty the tank, but now they do not need, and I need to empty the tank within 2-3 days, 40,000 liters water if it is there. So, then practically the easiest way is, instead of flowing on the street, put the hose pipe in borewell and it goes in the profile. That is good. Then I clean the tank myself in whatever way. It takes 2 days for me. So, practically then say if we are emptying it in 3rd week of May, actually 1st week of June, by 5th, 6th or 7th June, we get our monsoon. Maybe by 10th June or so, we will have again water accumulating in the underground tank. So, in between, say maybe 15 days or so, then we drink also municipal water. We do not buy bottled water, then we drink municipal water. There is nothing wrong with that. Normally, we drink our own rainwater because I think our municipal water, our rainwater is better than municipal water. Not that I am blaming, that is not good, it is good. For almost 2 weeks, maybe sometimes 3 weeks, we drink that water also, but no borewell water use at all.
So, sir, what message would you like to give for our youngsters?
See, if I answer that question, then we have to go back in reverse gear, maybe from the beginning, and that may take time, but okay, because you mentioned youngsters, so I will go it like this. See, basically the whole issue of water ultimately we need to look at it at global level. My action here today that I was talking is at local level. Water as a unit, we need to take it as global level. If I explain that for youngsters, Many elders and experts know this, I am not talking anything new. I take it like this: globally, the whole planet Earth is a water planet, because 70% surface of the earth is covered by water. How many among our youngsters are taught about it? So, earth is a water planet. Now, of this 70 percent area of the earth covered by water, more than 70% of that is ocean. And within these oceans, 98.5% water is too salty for human consumption. So, while it is true that everywhere there is water, it is too salty for our consumption. How much is that water, global water? 1400 million cubic kilometers. Just like from refrigerator we take out this ice cube 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch, okay. Like that 1400 million cubic kilometer is water, which means there is a lot of water, but not potable, not our use. How much is potable water? That is about 90,000 cubic kilometer water per year. So, this unit is too big, so I cannot speak in liters, okay. In area I am talking, in cubic area I am talking, 90,000 cubic kilometers. But then, is this all water? And I am saying each year means there is a global hydrological cycle. From the oceans, by winds and temperature, water evaporates, salts do not evaporate with that, and then it forms rain and then it comes to us. So, of this 90,000 cubic kilometers, only 2/3 is accessible, 1/3 is not accessible. Now, that 2/3 is called green water, which evaporates within our land system, which is part of our biological ecosystems. It supports our life and our agriculture and industries and forests and trees and everything, biological systems, green water. And 1/3 which is not accessible, fresh water, that is landlocked in Arctic, Antarctic, very deep profile where we cannot draw it. So, it is like that, and this is only 2.5 or 2.6% fresh water. So, of the total only 2.6% is what sustains our life. So, this is always a critical balance, and therefore, we have to be careful. Having said that, population keeps on increasing. Your resource base does not increase always like this. Our expectations in democracy are very high from government, but see, government cannot create water by mixing hydrogen and oxygen, no way. It is a natural resource. Each government cannot start a water factory to create water, water is not created, just like that. Then it is a global challenge. Identification of dependable system, making a system over it, as our chief minister did for supply of drinking water to cities. These take time and take lot of money. So, we all need to realize that ecological and real cost, and we need to be careful. Every individual household also needs to come forward and take part in the movement. This is just not government's job, this is just not chief minister's job to bring water to my house. We all need to participate in that, we need to contribute in that. Unfortunately, as it happens in democracy. Water is always very highly subsidized commodity in the houses, taking it for granted that no, it is government's responsibility to provide me water, very highly subsidized. So, we do not know the value of that subsidized water, and therefore, we are wasteful. Against, I am not against government's policy to subsidize anything, but at the same time we citizens need to realize the cost, real cost. Someone meets that cost, in that case our government meets the cost, and we need to be careful on using this resource, because if we do not, then what will happen by 2050, by year 2100, when global population increases to say close to 10 billion. What we are doing? We are sentencing our own people and particularly in Asia and Africa to what I call hydrological poverty. We are creating that. So, we all need to be careful about it. That is important. Now, if we go back 200 years back, in our country, I think Delhi first water piped water supply system is started 1905, Hyderabad 1910. But before that we all were on our own and pulling water from the well. There were no electrified bore wells. And yes, there was some form, definitely some form of charity also on water issues. So, hundreds and thousands of water tanks were made by wise people. Over the time, what has happened? A system of economic development where we have jobs. So, people are aggregating in cities. What cities have become over the time? These cities have become like hot islands. See, mid 70s, I lived in Hyderabad without a ceiling fan, without a table fan. Forget cooler, forget air conditioner. I lived without that, and it was not difficult. Not that I could not afford it. No, it was just not required. Now you cannot live without a cooler. Many people have air conditioners. It takes a lot of energy, but again that is a different thing, that hot islands. And in these hot islands, water requirement, water wastage, I am coming to that important thing. Justified requirement is fine, but we waste so much water. So, we need to be careful about those things. Urban population over the time will be close to 65%. So, are we prepared for that to meet food and water requirement? Because at some stage in democracy, people become very demanding. I am paying your tax and I am your voter. So, give me this, give me that. So, government is always under that pressure. So, we need to conserve resources. Wise people did that, but in these urban areas then we have gone crazy, and what we are doing? The lakes which were there, which were acting as percolation centers for groundwater profile, those lakes are encroached by us. We built our houses on that, we built our colonies on that. Hyderabad's famous example is that Masab tank, Ma Saheb tank, it is not Masab, Ma Saheb tank. There was a tank, now a colony and post office address exists on that. We have eaten up the lake, we eat up lakes. This is crazy. Hundreds of such tanks have disappeared. My message is we need to revive all of them, we need to maintain all of them. Right in the Ramchandpuram, there was a colony being built upon that, and Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu got those two houses blasted. Incidentally, those two houses were built by two engineers. How crazy! So yes, thankfully government has awareness. That's a good sign. Maybe among messages, say 10 years from now, my time is done on the earth, but even 50 years from now, you all will be there. So birds and butterflies and all this beautiful ecosystem which we have inherited, you also need to further improve it and give it to next generation. That's important. It's not my property that I take away with me. I will not take away anything. So that ecosystem restoration and further development is another big requirement, message to be done. If we do, then we live very well, which practically means there is a choice. We are talking of water, say I talk like this. If you conserve water, take care of water very well, you survive, you live a happy life. I will put it this way, you live a happy life. If you do not conserve water, I tell you nothing happens, you still live. I mean, you survive, only survive. That is not happy life. So you have a choice, happy life or mere survival. That's like that. But we have talked about this system since you mentioned as you came ICRISAT. That's where I have been a very long serving staff, as I said 44 years, 3 months, and that's the type of system is very relevant to India, many countries of Asia, not necessarily Southeast Asia, and Africa. Africa, yes, for sure. And how? Water conservation from whatever our living dwelling, from urban area or rural area like this house. That is a simple example I have given. It is not rocket science, it is not a invention, these are simple things we have done. Same way in agriculture, we developed a technology called watershed based crop production system. Now, this crop production system is for dry land agriculture, where the basic thing is land and water management. And as I said, with 850 millimeter, forget 850 millimeter, even with 600 millimeter water, if you conserve it properly in a watershed based system in dry land agriculture, you can produce between 3 to 4, maybe in some cases a slightly higher rainfall year like what we got last 2 years, maybe even 4.5 ton food grain per hectare per year. And what is this food grain? That food grain is millets and pulses. Pulses give us protein and millets are what we are this year talking, International Year of Millets. From where this millets will come? These millets come from dry land agriculture, and prominent among them is sajja, bajra, jawar, chuna, sorghum, and third is ragi, finger millet. There are of course 6 others also small millets, but these 3 prominent, and they all come from dry land agriculture. No irrigation agriculture farmer will put say wheat and rice growing farmer will not grow millets. It is not practical, it is not feasible. Same way our pulses come from dry land agriculture, and the system is that rainwater conservation system. The technology is watershed based farming system. So that's the work we have done. I worked for that system for 26 years, and I am convinced it works. So, what is the assurance to you youngsters is, see, enough has been done as way of invention, and doing it and demonstrating it and showing it that look, it works is on agriculture and water conservation. Food and water we have ensured. What you need to do is, okay, run the system in a sensible, practical way. A system just similar to this house also exists in ICRISAT campus. I am not sure whether you have seen that, but a very famous guru, a scientist on land and water management, Dr. Sachan, made it. Dr. Sachan, I think, is among senior most land water management conservation scientists in our country. He built a system in ICRISAT's glass house. Now, glass house complex is the place where under controlled condition of light, temperature, humidity, we do our pot experiments in ICRISAT. Many agricultural organizations have that such facility, but what is special in that is created by Dr. Sachan. What he did is, we have 5,000 square meter, mine is only 166 square meter. Dr. Sachan's thing is 5,000 square meter surface of the glass house roof. So, we conserve rainwater from the roof of 5,000 square meter glass house roof in 2 underground reservoirs at ICRISAT. It gives close to 4 or 4.5 million, 40 to 45 lakh liters water every year. We store all of that. What for? That is the question. You cannot irrigate experimental pots with borewell water because it has high salt content. You need soft water. So, we conserve rainwater and use that stored rainwater for watering pots. Okay. So, this is one. Borewell water has about 700 ppm salt. Rainwater has between 10 to 20 ppm salt. So, this is the advantage. We also need very high quality deionized water in our ICRISAT labs. See, the lab where my water sample was analyzed, they need lot of deionized water. Now, deionization is a process. You can deionize borewell water, which ICRISAT was always doing. That was taking between $1,000 to $1,500 chemical cost every month. And now, when ICRISAT is conserving rainwater and we are deionizing rainwater there, the cost of chemicals has drastically come down, maybe close to $200 a month. Now, how I give this example? Now, practically what it means is that all these such eco-friendly systems that we make, they take money, because ultimately everything boils down to money. So, yes, you spend money on it, but over the years you save, and therefore, you recover the cost. For example, this house, we spent 4,50,000 rupees, 4.5 लाख में अपना घर बना था ये, and by 2020 means 2 years back, whatever water we had conserved in 26 years, okay, now 28, but 26 years, whatever water we conserved, if I put tankers cost, not municipal water supply cost, and incidentally in Telangana water is now free, I am not saying, I am putting some commercial cost, tankers cost, whatever varied. And since the time we stopped using the 2 horsepower borewell pump, it saves money on electricity. So, our savings on water conservation system for this house in 2020 was 5.5 lakhs, which means I have already recovered all the construction cost of this house, much more than cost of construction of this house only by water conservation. Same way in ICRISAT's glass house case, if you are saving 1000 to 1200 US dollars a month, yes, whatever money you spend on constructing that system over the years, you recover the cost. So, it goes like that. ICRISAT farm is 3500 acres. That farm is developed in such a way that all rainwater is conserved there in lakes, and from the lakes we recycle water for irrigation. So, I will say over 99% irrigation in ICRISAT farm is conserved rainwater, not borewell water. ICRISAT saves close to 12 billion liter rainwater every year. Just that 3500 acre farm is conserving so much. If you look at our country, India is a very blessed country, I tell you. India's normal rainfall is about 1200 millimeter if you take whole country's average. And if you consider per capita how much Mother Nature has given us water, maybe 2.4 million liter, 24 lakh liter water per person per year. That is what Mother Nature has given us. This is lot of water, but it does not mean that we should look, I drink only 6 to 8 glasses of water in a day and I take 2 bucket water for bath and 2 buckets for my cloth washing. No, the food that you eat, that agriculture takes a lot of water. The milk that we buy, say production of 1 liter milk practically takes over 1000 liters of water, because that animal has to grow up, animals consumption plus animals food consumption, that fodder which it eats. So, there are ecological costs which are big, we do not realize it. Same way our food cost is high. In pearl millet's case, maybe rice, 1 kilo rice production will take close to say between 1500 to 2000 liters water, and sometimes we are very wasteful on rice, which is our staple food now. Millets take close to 500 liters water to produce 1 kilo grain. So, yes, water requirements for our food, then living and industry, those are high. If you look at Telangana, and this is where I tell people, Telangana is a very blessed state. I do not accept that Telangana is dry. No, Telangana is not dry. No, not at all. Telangana also gets say close to 890 millimeter rains average in a year, 880 or 890 millimeter rains in a year. And again, if you look at the area, population and these things, Mother Nature has given close to 2.9 million, 29 lakh liters water per person per year. That is a lot of water. So, Telangana cannot complain, look, we are dry. No, Telangana is not dry. The trouble comes when we make big cities, which are on the one hand high economic productivity zone, but not necessarily eco-friendly. Hyderabad looking to its area, population, while we get 850 millimeter rain, maybe Hyderabad's per capita water that we get is between 50 to 60,000 liter in a year only, by just rains I am saying. But then we need food, we need water, we need vegetables. That is where government comes in. Government brings water from outside for our drinking, which is expensive, and our food of course comes from outside. Outside peri-urban area. Within peri-urban area, we grow lot of vegetables and flowers, generally flowers for puja and vegetables for our food, but other than that our food grain comes from outside peri-urban area, but that is how economy grows. There is nothing wrong in that, but that is the way these things are managed.
So, sir, what message would you like to give to Neoscience Hub as a best wishes?
My best wishes, you gave me that copy, I am very impressed. This is not just good, this is Shandar. Having such a publication from our city, I will say this is pride of Hyderabad. And as I after cover the first that I opened in between was on Ramappa temple, I have visited. What a Shandar structure that we have. So, we are covering all those things. My best wishes. If there is any way where I can help, yes, inform me anytime. I will contribute to whatever is your mission. I am not saying financially, by whatever efforts or the work that I know. And as I said, except agriculture and water conservation in general, I do not know anything, but that itself is a mission. Our best wishes.
Thank you, sir.
All these crazy things basically that I do require my patience, but more than my patience, it needs my wife's patience. So, she has always been very helpful, but then critical when we have been discussing it, why this, how this, why not this way. So, I have always benefited from that discussion, that is important for me.
सो माँ जी, जैसे कि हम लोग बोलते हैं कि बरसात का पानी आप इस्तेमाल करते हो कुकिंग के लिए, तो वाकई में वहाँ पे टेस्ट या कुछ ऐसा चेंज होता है क्या?
थोड़ा चेंज तो होता है, पर इतना फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता है उस पानी से, पर टेस्ट अच्छा है उसका। हम पीते भी हैं, खाना बनाते हैं, तो बहुत फ़र्क पड़ जाता है टेस्ट में, पानी में।
तो माँ जी, आप सर के बारे में कुछ बोलना चाहते हैं कि सर ने ये वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग, जो बरसात का पानी को स्टोर करके, और आपको काम के लिए लाइक पूरा काम आपका आसान हो गया, क्योंकि पानी के बिना काम नहीं चलता है।
जी हाँ, पानी के बिना काम नहीं चलता है, पर हमने जो ये बनाया है उससे फ़ायदा तो बहुत हुआ है हमको, कि पानी की हमको कभी कमी महसूस नहीं हुई। पानी आता स्टोर रहता है, इसलिए अब हमको पता नहीं चलता है कि पानी की प्रॉब्लम क्या है। और मेरे हस्बैंड ने ये जो काम किया है, बहुत अच्छा काम किया है। पूरे हैदराबाद या पूरे इंडिया को चाहिए कि इस रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग को काम में ले, और वो पानी की प्रॉब्लम को सोल्व कर सकते हैं।
Thank you, sir, for sharing your knowledge with us, especially Neoscience Hub. So, sir, it was actually useful, whatever you have shared the knowledge regarding rainwater harvesting. So,
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.